Guys, we are in Fundamentals Month. We're going to be discussing something very, very simple, but that's requirement for everybody to know how to take mount after you get side control. So one of the most common things that actually happens to newer students is they find their way to side control via usually some kind of guard pass, sometimes via sweep. They get so excited, they try to go to mount, and then their legs get caught, they get swept, and then everything just starts to go downhill from there. Okay, so a lot of us have been there, right? So let's discuss on what to do or not to do, etc. So first of all, one of the things that I should not do that a lot of newer students do is take a big step. I should not be looking to take any kind of these big steps because again, you're giving so much space for the person to bring their knees in and go into a guard, and now start to even submit you, whatever, right? So you don't want to do that. The exception is, when do you want to step, is if your body is facing the person's legs. So if you find yourself in a reverse side control where now I have a good pin on his upper body by being high in his sternum, if I can pull his legs towards myself, now it's acceptable to step over because it's now, as you saw, difficult for Cal to intercept. So if you're facing the legs, yes, you can do these steps, otherwise don't do it. All right, so the way that we should be looking to get into a mount position is with our knee nice and low on their stomach. So a lot of times our knee is going to go very low on the stomach, then our knee goes on the floor, and then we take mount, right? This is the classic way. We're going to do something very similar in a second. But what a lot of people do in bottom, what we've done as well, is the person puts their knee right at your ribs, and they're waiting for this. So they're waiting for you to try to advance, and then they hip escape in that 1 second. Meaning, so if Cal has his knee in my ribs, like this, and he's waiting. He's like, okay, I'm just waiting for Alex to mount, and as soon as I try to mount, he uses that as an opportunity to escape, and it's like, man, I lost my chance to take mount. All right. So, how do we solve this problem, and also how do we solve another problem that's been happening over the last couple of years, the buggy choke? All right. So, what we're gonna do is going to solve both of those issues. So, the buggy choke for Cal, if I keep this head and arm upper body grip, if he turns into me slightly, now he can extend this arm, Chris, right, and he can go for a buggy choke. Go ahead, Cal.
I don't even know.
You don't know how? Great. All right. I love it. Good. All right. Good thing that Cal doesn't know. Last thing that we need is Cal buggy choking people. That's the last thing we need in this gym right now. So first thing is, guys, but just take my word for it, or later I'll show it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a buggy choke harder. First thing is, take your middle finger, bring it into the person's armpit. Keep this as an open hand on the floor. Pull the person in and roll your shoulder into their neck. All right. So make sure that you have a nice tight cross face, so it's difficult for him to escape, etc. But I still want the person here to put the knee into the ribs. Go ahead, Cal. Okay, great. So now with this hand, the one that was on the floor, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to his hip, and I'm going to bring my elbow on the inside, and I'm going to jam it into his thigh just like this. You see that? So now his knee is not really touching my ribs anymore, Chris. You see there's like an opening. Cal, make your knee touch my ribs. You see, it doesn't really touch, all right, because again, my form is now on its way. Before, his knee was in my ribs here, all right? So again, this form is very important. Now, I open up space for my knee. Now I bring my knee on the inside of my hand. Sometimes what I've seen people do is they do this. No, that defeats the purpose, okay? Don't do this. Bring your knee on the inside of your hand like this. So Cal, you can keep your knee where it is. Okay, now from here, soon as I put my knee onto his belly, now this is no longer really relevant. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hand off the hip, and I'm going to put my hand right underneath his frame, right underneath the crook of his elbow, like this. From here, guys, I'm going to shift my body, and I'm going to bring my knee onto the floor. Once I bring my knee onto the floor, this is where a lot of things go wrong. A lot of times people get excited, they try to take them out, and then bam, their foot gets caught. Okay, and now from here, Cal can go into deep half guard, he can go into regular half guard, he can bump, he can do many different things. Sometimes he'll be stuck, but then I'll be stuck too, right? So let's come back a step. So don't do that. So don't just take your foot out. But before we do that, look what I'm going to do. I'm going to attack his upper body simultaneously. Why? Because Cal is thinking about mount. So a lot of times his upper body is going to be available to me to attack. So my fingers, I'm going to walk them away from him. And look how I'm bringing his elbow above his shoulder. Once we're here, guys, I'm going to now take mount. The way I'm going to take mount is I'm going to use my hip and my foot to rotate. So look, I'm going to do this. You see? So as I rotate it, his foot just can't catch it anymore. From there, I'm going to bring my foot nice and tight onto the hip, and I already won my upper body positioning with my arm. So it's difficult for him to get this back in. Now this hand is now going to walk the opposite way. I'm going to turn my fingers, and I'm going to walk all the way through until I can grab the meat of Cal's armpit / tricep. Once I'm here, guys, you need to loosen up a little bit. Don't be too tight. Like before, I was being pretty tight. I was using a lot of my strength. Now I'm going to loosen up just so that I can slide and bring my knee to replace my hand. Just like this. Once I'm here, I'm gonna start to lift Cal's head up. I'm gonna start to lift up his second arm, and I'm gonna curl my leg underneath his armpit. Just like this, all right? I wanna be really heavy on Cal. The goal here is for his veins on his head to start to pop out. Okay, so a lot of people, they're too gentle. They sit like this. If you're just sitting just with your hamstring on their chest, they're not gonna feel any weight. So make sure, guys, that you wanna sit super tight on their body. Cal, how's this feel? It should feel pretty bad for them. And I'm a little bit lighter than Cal. So if I'm like Larad sitting on Cal, he's almost feels like he needs to tap. He's not gonna tap, obviously, but it should be a lot of pressure. From here, Cal is gonna start to make grips. Okay, he's gonna start to defend his arm. I'm gonna control his arm. I'm gonna lean my head towards his legs to make this leg light. There's a very important rule here, guys, that we need to follow. I need to step and then sit. A lot of newer students, they start to sit and then they try to throw the leg over, and then Cal takes top and now he's in close guard, right? So you don't want that to happen. So from here, you need to do a lean, Albert. As I lean, you can grab either leg as well. I can go here or I can go here. A lot of times that's a good thing to go for balance. Slide over his face as close as I can, and I'm sitting as close to his shoulder joint as I can. Another issue that happens is people sit too far away, and there's gaps right here, and that the elbow comes down. So you want to sit very, very close. Now I'm going to let go of the leg. I'm going to collect his arm, pull it in, cross my feet, pull my heels in, open up my knee to put pressure on his head. Now I'm going to do a big bicep around his wrist. You can keep your grip, Cal. I'm going to fold towards his head. Once I fold towards his head, shimmy, 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 shimmy. The grip breaks. 2-on-1, back to 90 degrees, and finish with your classic armbar. Okay, so super simple, but this is a way to mount and also tag the person simultaneously. Really, really simple, but yeah, we see this happen all the time. All right, so again, Cal's gonna be here. He has both of his frames. My knees are nice and wide, my hips are nice and low. I get a cross face, middle finger in the armpit, hand on the floor. I pull him in, I get a cross face on Cal. Now his knees and my ribs. Okay, so again, his knees and my ribs, I feel the knee. Don't mount unless you control their hips. So bring your forearm and use your forearm to take their leg out. Cal, keep your knee up, keep your leg up. Nice. From here, I put my knee right nice and low on their stomach. Now I take my hand, I put it right over here, and then at somewhere around this line, like when you're about to mount, somewhere along here, start to slide their arm and start already to isolate the arm. Knee goes onto the floor, open up the hip, take your leg away from them so they can't catch it. Quickly go to mount, and then now I'm gonna proceed to attack the arm that I had. Now I'm gonna walk it all the way up, control the tricep, loosen up a little bit. A lot of us are gonna stay tight here. You're gonna feel like it's hard to slide up. So loosen up slightly, just so that you can bring your knee nice and high. Let go, pull their head up, start to pull their arm up, condense them, and then try to make everything as small as possible here. The bigger you are here, the less pressure you're gonna generate. So the smaller I am, here, Larad, you see how like everything is nice and small? The stronger it's gonna be. Cal's gonna make grips, he knows the armbar is coming, it's not a secret. Hook the arm that you want, lean your body, grab one of the legs for balance, and then step over their face. The reason, Larad, this is also a very important step is because a lot of times as you do it, the person is gonna try to come on top of you, okay? So Cal, come on top of me as soon as I go for the armbar, okay? Go into my guard. This is gonna happen, but look, since I have the leg, I can always rock them back down, and I can really frustrate them, all right? Even if they come up all the way. Cal, come up all the way. Look, he's coming up all the way. I'll be able to rock him, and a lot of times put him down onto his back. If you have this leg, you're always gonna be able to put them down, all right? So it's very, very frustrating for them. Then when you're ready to finish, take it out, grab their second arm, cross your feet, pull everything in. They're gonna have their grip, big bicep, lean, shake a little bit to break that grip, back to 90 to get our finish. All right? Any quick questions, guys? All right, Chris, come on, let's try the buggy choke. So for the buggy choke, all right, take lessons, man, take notes. Buggy choke, all right? So Chris is gonna buggy choke me, go ahead. You see? So when I'm here, if my arm is in the spot, I'm susceptible to the buggy. Chris, start to go for the buggy now. So see my forearm on the hips, Larad, blocks his legs from coming in. And now, not only is he not gonna buggy choke me, Cal, now I'm also gonna arm triangle him, because by him extending losing his frame, he's actually arm triangling himself as well. So this forearm on the hips, guys, also negates people's buggy chokes, etc. And you know they're gonna go for it. You can tell they let go of their frame, they're turning into you a little bit, they're doing funny things with their legs. It's no surprise, right? Not anymore at least, right? So again, once you're here, I'm gonna go here, Chris starts to go for the buggy choke. I'll even allow him to do it just so that I can start to now make him even pay for it. Arm triangle, and I can even start to take his back. I can do a lot of really cool stuff by him going for something that's no longer there, because now I have a frame on his hips, and now his hips are no longer, he's no longer able to use his hips to shoot these things out. All right, cool, let's go. All right, but Daniel, let's get it. Daniel's surprised. No, Sean. So do the position. I wanna discuss what's happening because this happens to a lot of
Start
people.
from side control or?
Yeah, you can. Just when I say pause, pause, okay? Okay, so here. Okay, good. Okay, you fixed it for this video. So this is what I wanted. But before, what Danny was doing, no, stay there. Before, what Danny was doing before is this knee was not that high, this knee was a little bit lower, and his shoulders were not perpendicular. You can let go of this arm. His shoulders were more this way, and he was more seated upright like this. All right, so the angle looked like this to me earlier. So a lot of students try to armbar at this angle. So you can still get it, but the issue is this. Danny, hook the arm that you want, and now lean and step over his face and then freeze. Go ahead, step over his face, freeze. That's decent, but come back a step. You're kind of fixing it. You're making my point not really relevant.
Oh, sorry.
So what happens is, so stay at that angle that you had before.
Like the upright angle?
Yeah, no, put the knee on the floor, yep. So a lot of times, if their angle is off, like turn your shoulders like you had it before. Okay, if he's like that, once he steps over, just freeze when you step over. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of times a gap that exists right over here. And in that little gap, especially somebody like Sean, sometimes they can take their elbow out. Exactly. So for that reason, Danny did fix it for the video. Go back a step. You want your shoulders, put the knee on the floor. No. Go into back test now. Correct test now. Well, that's not the correct test now. Now that's the wrong test now. You want your shoulders facing me. So turn your body more. So this knee higher, Danny, like you had it before. Good, and I'll turn here, and I'll turn your hips towards me this way. Like that, good. So see, now that his shoulders are perpendicular to Sean, everything is snug. Sean, how does this feel? It's very tight. It's very tight. So now when he does a lean, go ahead, lean. And then when he steps over the face, look, there's really no gap. And now a lot of times he can even do a hamstring curl and clip Sean's head. So see, there's absolutely no space. Now that there's no space, it's going to be really difficult for Sean to take his arm out. And then now he can sit gently closer to Sean's face. He can start to cross his feet. And then he can start to, let's stay frozen here. Stay frozen. And then he can start to extract arm. Guys, when you're crossing your feet, this is not the correct way. You want to cross the opposite way. Great. You want to reinforce the head, that's the leg that's on the head. The head is more important to reinforce than the belly. If he crossed it the other way, he's reinforcing the belly. But we don't really care about the belly as much as we care about the head. You see that gap that it created there? So switch your feet. Nice. Do a hamstring curl. Good. Open your knees a little bit. Nice. Sean, how does this feel?
Hard to move.
It's very hard to move. So by him opening up his knee, he's now clipping Sean's head, and it's now difficult for Sean to bridge or do much of anything. And now he has this deltoid on the inside. It's difficult for Sean to get his elbow on the inside. It's going to be a long day for Sean, and then he could take his time to break that grip. Okay, come out for a second. So Chris was asking me earlier. He was saying, "Oh, what's that thing that you could do?" So not this angle, guys. I want to be at this angle. See how I'm completely perpendicular? So Chris was asking me, what can I do to get rid of the grip break after I sit? I don't want to deal with people's strong grips. What you can do, especially if their hands are a little bit open, is swim your hand in between both of their arms and put their defending arm into your pocket. Now the one that I want is available for me at any time. You just have to do it gently so you don't accidentally break your training partner's arm. Lean, and now look how tightly I step over. I do a hamstring curl, and then when I sit, now the arm that I want is free of charge, because again, he cannot defend himself, and now I can very easily get him to tap here. So you can do that too. They're just a little more advanced. And just be careful with that, because a lot of times as you're falling, when the person is moving out, sometimes you can accidentally hurt them by going a little bit too fast on that arm. All right, let's go.